Minister, Permanent Secretary, thank you. Colleagues from USP, colleagues from the Ministry, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, thank you so much for joining us here at Gordon House for World Environment Day and the preparations for World Environment Day. So you're very welcome, and I'm very honoured to host you in the residence of the British High Commissioner. And really what we're here today is to emphasise the fact that the importance of nature in our lives cannot be underplayed, and this World Environment Day is actually an opportunity for pause and reflection, and it feels to us like in the current circumstances with the pandemic there is even more cause for reflection than in previous years. But overall, as many of you know, the figures on the rate of destruction are really alarming, and in the last 150 years coral reef cover has been reduced by half, and within the next 10 years, 1 out of every 4 species may be wiped off the planet. And it would take 1.6 Earths to meet the demands that humans make on nature each year. So for us, World Environment Day, yes, it does come at a difficult moment, and it does take a lot to shift focus away from the pandemic and the devastation that it is created throughout the world. But we also have a real opportunity. And seeing the energy and the dynamism of colleagues here, I have no doubt that we have a very real opportunity to build back better with a climate-resistant recovery for a low-carbon future. And we cannot afford to lose momentum on our environment and climate targets. As many of you may have already heard, the UK announced last week that COP26 will now take place the 1st to the 12th of November 2021. And this is because international cooperation is key to succeeding, and in our efforts to rebuild the global economy in tandem with green recovery pathways. And I'm proud to stand here today with Fiji, and I want to congratulate you, Minister Reddy, for all the excellent work that Fiji is doing to build up environmental protection and tackle climate change through nature-based solutions. And for the British government, we think this is exactly the right way to go, and we are ready to champion nature-based solutions. And in fact, our Minister, Lord Goldsmith of Richmond, last night was just saying how important nature-based solutions are going to be to the COP, and we will continue to prioritise these in the run-up to COP26. We're ready to work with all countries to share the opportunities of clean growth, stimulate greater action on climate adaptation and resilience, and drive transformation of global financial flows and tackle the biodiversity crisis. And we also remain committed to being good partners in the Pacific and supporting Pacific governments in their efforts to protect the environment. So we are proudly supporting a number of environmental programs in the Pacific, such as the Commonwealth Marine Economies Programme, Clean Oceans Alliance, Common Sensing and One Ocean Hub, and this is in addition to our significant spend through multilateral organisations. And to give you an example of that, the Commonwealth Marine Economies Programme is supporting 9 Commonwealth small island states in the Pacific to develop marine economies in a more sustainable, resilient and integrated way. And one of the components of this programme, which is called CMEP, involves estimating the economic value of blue carbon in Fiji by mapping seagrass areas through remote sensing. And this is a really interesting programme, and it's involved improving national and regional understanding of the extent of the seagrass habitat, underpinning future management decisions on how to conserve these habitats due to their role in reducing climate change impact. So, therefore, it's even more timely that your department have organised the Seagrass Planting Initiative. I'm really looking forward to taking part in that. And you've done an amazing job of organising an eventful week to mark World Environment Day on Friday the 5th of June. And thank you very much for extending the invitation to the British High Commission to join you today.
Speaking about environment and nature, and I've been very passionate and very connected to nature since I was a kid. But now the entire family is being, really connected to nature. I was reading my kid's speech he drafted that he wants to give tomorrow. He just wrote it up in an hour probably or so. And I was totally amazed. He's talking about some planet C. And I asked my wife last night, what is planet C? He said, oh, it's like plane A, plane B, and he's saying there's no planet C. So I said, then what is planet A and B? He said, planet A is Earth, planet B is Mars. He said, the possibility of us going to Mars if we lose planet A, Earth. The interesting speech, Excellency Hopkins, PS Waterways Environment, Wycliffe, Director Environment, Senior Staff from Minister Environment, Senior Mealy, Deputy Director of Institute of Applied Sciences, Dr. Gillian Brody. Nice meeting you, Doc. Ladies and gentlemen, Bulavanaka to you all. It's a pleasure to be here. Excellency, as I alluded to earlier on, I've always been here in the night time. I never appreciated what what you've been endowed with. This nature that I don't know how people take things for granted in countries here like Fiji. A few years back, I was at the Japanese ambassador's place. I think it was Japanese ambassador's place, the one that bought it from some other high commission. And the wife, she was looking outside. She could see this that reach there, full of natural forest. And she said, "I can never see this in Japan. Never see this in Japan, in this way." And that's the level of endowment we have with respect to natural resources. And I think we need to ensure that this endowment is passed on to the future generations as well. And this is the kind of commitment we all should be making. Last week when we did the International Biodiversity Day, or 2 weeks ago, and of course this week, and there's a number of other days that we will get an opportunity to continuously renew our vows to do justice as our forefathers did. Excellency, I want to begin by thanking you for hosting us here this morning. It's an important day within the week-long activity leading up to the tomorrow, the World Environment Day. As you know, the World Environment Day was established by United Nations in 1972, taking into account and also looking ahead with respect to growth and development, what could be the consequence of growth and development on nature if it is gone unchecked. So basically, there was a day dedicated where at least we will pause on that day. They gave us an opportunity to pause on the day and think critically and on what and how we need to conduct ourselves to ensure that we have an environment which we are part of, which will be conducive to us and our future generations' growth and development. And some years back, when the Quality of Life Index was developed, it was devoid of any environmental index. So the Quality of Life Index had various indexes, to develop the composite index. Now the Quality of Life Index has to also look into, and is also taking into account the quality of natural environment the country has. So that's a great giant leap that economists have made by taking into account that you really can't have a index showing very high quality when really your environment demonstrates clear gaps with respect to air pollution, the pollution of our waterways, pollution of our open spaces around us. So in this regard, I would say we are relatively in a safer place, and we've got a relatively good start. But then, if you take into account the trend, then we must say that we cannot be complacent. Complacent with respect to what's happening in our open spaces, in public spaces, around our coastal, around our mangroves, along our waterways. It's very important that we start taking firm measures in terms of one, on the supply side to see that people don't conduct in that way, and secondly to curb and change people's behavior. Excellency, today we have dedicated this day to a very important aspect of our marine ecosystem, that is the seagrass ecosystem, which forms part of the rich marine ecosystem that can be found in the tropical coastal zones. So as marine flowering plants, they're found all over the world except Antarctica, and this is most widespread and a very productive coastal ecosystem that are essential to the health and productivity of the marine coral ecosystem. So globally, the seagrass meadows are associated with high fisheries production, and as you know, the Pacific Island countries, the Caribbean, and some of the other coastal small islands associated with bigger countries. The marine population, the coastal population are entirely dependent on our coastal resources. Even now in Fiji, a lot of inland people, with the situation that we are facing with respect to COVID-19, they have resorted to obtaining resources from sea for survival. So we need to ensure that not only we protect and really ring fence the EEZ that we have around us, but also we need to ensure that it is productive. And seagrass ecosystem is an important food security system for the nourishment and well-being of the coastal ecosystem. So, Excellency, we like seagrass. We also are putting a lot of emphasis and resources into our mangrove system, which also provides a source of food and resources for our coastal population. It also protects our coastal areas. It protects from tidal waves. So we in the waterways and environment are working also closely with other ministries like Ministry of Fisheries, Ministry of Forestry to protect our coastal areas and our coastal resources. Also to enhance and expand where possible. For example, we did, led by PS and Director Environment and senior staff, did planting of mangrove in the seawall that we constructed in Namoli village in Lotoka. We have now decided with the Waterways team that wherever we will construct a seawall, we will complement it with also mangroves that we will plant around. So very important to sustain that the structure as well as enhance the ecosystem around coastal areas. So there is a number of other advantages that with respect to seagrass, such as the reduction in the amount of CO2 that's emitted from the sea vegetation system. So, Excellency, it's my pleasure today to be here and take this opportunity of your morning tea to launch this morning's activity, which is part of the Environment Week, and I look forward to your contribution till the last day you are here, and of course you will, I'm sure when you when you leave Fiji, you will keep in touch to see how we are doing on some of these projects that you have assisted us and also assisted other ministries to undertake work which will contribute to the development and sustenance of the entire sustainable development paradigm of Fiji. I just want to also mention here that we are looking at aerial satellite surveillance of our marine ecosystem, not only through drones but also through mapping of our coral reefs. PS has signed up with Vulcan Corporation about assisting us in doing this mapping of our coral reef system. It's not a static system. It will be a dynamic system where every point in time we will be able to see what's happening to our coral reef system.
That's really important. Yeah.
So USP, our research universities are having drones for their research work. We can partner with them. We can ask them to probably fund a few drones that we can have. But we're looking at acquiring the technology now. We need to move in line with technological developments to utilize, to assist us in doing our work. So, essentially, it's a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank you. And I do hope that today's seagrass planting will give us an insight into the vitality and importance of seagrass ecosystem, and also raise the importance of this to the rank and file, people who cross it, who walk on it, to get into or beyond the reef to do fishing, that this is something that will matter to the future generations about their ability to get resources from the sea. So Fijian government is firmly has firm roots in the climate ambition towards innovative solutions, and this is part of our overall strategy to counter problems from nature or induced by human beings through nature-based solutions. So thank you, Excellency, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Is halogeny ovalis, and my team here from so it north. This is what the seeds look like. It's not just about fisheries and fish and invertebrates living in the seagrass. It can be a nursery, so things can spend their juvenile stage in the seagrass and then go to the mangroves or to the coral reef.
Ahead of COP26, I think there'll be a huge focus on nature-based solutions and a huge focus on oceans.
A lot more carbon in the forest. We will look at this as a nature-based solution and a major product. We now have 2 or 3 products within our nature-based solutions. This would probably be the prime of all of that we have. So we're looking forward to not just the launch today, but many more such sites.
If you were in a non-urban area, the blades would be much longer. You've got a natural touch there, yes.
This is a giant leap, particularly knowing that the seagrass is able to sink a lot more carbon than the forest. We will look at this as a nature-based solution and a major product. We now have 2 or 3 products within our nature-based solutions. This would probably be the prime of all of that we have. So we're looking forward to not just the launch today, but many more such sites. We will recruit a few more candidate sites and ensure that we will be able to plant more nurseries, and that'll form a part of the KPIs of the ministry's performance in having a number of nurseries that's made available to coastal communities to be able to plant them. So you heard the academic, the theory and the practice, and how theory supports practice, and you heard from a strong supporter from the British government. So we thank both our supporters who are here today, and I also want to thank the director and the team for making this possible. After the planting, we'll have a few words to say when we go back, and there's another special surveillance product that we're about to launch, and we will do that as well after we go back. Thank you.
So I'll just say 3 things. The first is tomorrow is actual World Environment Day, and it's really great to see innovative programs like this that can act as a catalyst to inspire people, because anyone in Fiji can do what we just did there, which was go out and plant some seagrass, and it really has such potential in terms of protecting the environment, in terms of protecting our ocean resources, and even, according to some of the latest cutting-edge research that Dr. Gillian was just telling me about, in terms of reducing pathogens. So there is huge potential in programs like this. The second thing I'll say is that the British government will be hosting COP in partnership with Italy, and the COP will now take place 1st to the 12th of November next year. So we've got time to work on special partnerships, for example the partnership with Fiji, to really build up some really strong examples of climate and environmental leadership ahead of COP, which will take place in Glasgow. And the third thing I'm going to say is that this programme also has a really nice read across to some work that the UK has been doing with our Commonwealth partners as part of something called the Commonwealth Marine Economies programme, which is trying to tackle that really difficult question about how do you balance between conservation on one side and economic development on another. And some of the work that we've been doing with our partners USP in Fiji, in Vanuatu and Kiribati about seabed mapping and the potential for further development of seagrass. So thank you for joining us today, and happy World Environment Day.
We can go left, like right and left, so you can just shift. And you push the
Excellent.
left hand stick is just usually used.